Right, I'm here with LX1, Wheel and Deal family, Temper family, and Rinse FM. Don, what's happening, brother?
What's happening, mate? You cool?
Yes, mate, I'm cool. So, let's start from the beginning, right? Let's go back to your first musical influences as you were growing up.
Okay. Um, they probably started with wow, probably your mum normally, isn't it? What your mum plays and
My
what your
mum!
parents play. No, what your parents
I
play.
thought that was a cuss. I thought it's like, oh, it
No,
really
no, I
started
would
with your
say
mum.
so. My mum used to love soul and Motown
Wicked.
and a lot of sort of some rock, some mod. So I grew up on, my uncle was quite a good, big influence in my music um, influences, in terms of Style Council, The Jam, even though my mum probably influenced her brother, my uncle, and he introduced me to hip hop and rap music
Okay.
in the sort of late 80s, where it was Public Enemy, Eric
Yeah,
B. Rakim,
yeah.
NWA to
Yeah, I used to love
uh,
NWA. Public
like
Enemy.
loads of different. And I'm talking, just sitting there with headphones while he's at work in the summer holidays, listening to his music. And then obviously then classical music, and then Michael Jackson for like that pop, but some cheesy pop as well probably.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
did
everyone.
have I did have the
Everyone's
now
got a guilty pleasure.
I had a now tape, like
Yeah,
now
me too.
uh,
I think it was like now
PC
8 or
boys
something
and
like
fat
that. That shows how
boys.
old I was.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I
but
can relate to
early
that as
on,
well.
very, very wide, and then always wanted to search for music that I didn't know about, but I was quite stush as well.
Yeah, I can relate to that, man. My uncle, he ran a music shop, which he still does, and he used to make guitars, violins, and stuff like that. And
Oh,
and
wow.
my and my cousin made electronic violins for
You
Vanessa
played
May
that?
and people like that. But
You played
this isn't
with that?
about me; it's about you.
Okay.
So, what music got you into DJing and MCing?
Probably hip hop,
Okay.
but I think wanting to actually be an MC and actually hold a microphone, probably, you know, early jungle when I heard like Stevie Hyper D, and I was like,
Oh,
yeah,
Stevie Hyper, man.
because I think probably Stevie
Junglist,
Hyper
are
D was
you ready?
because as well as having much of a ragga sort of influence, he had a big hip hop influence in his style,
Yeah.
and I definitely picked up on that. And then you'd hear other MCs like Rhyme Time and people was on that esque of style of MCing that I mean, I grew up on sort of Rush, Weekend Rush,
Yeah.
in the teenage years
Yeah.
of
Hardcore
Weekend Rush and
jungle.
Cool FM.
Yeah.
So, and I think Rhyme Time had I don't know what, an early show on an afternoon show, I think.
Right.
It was Cool FM, I think, on Sunday with Trace.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
jungle was probably your biggest step forward, was it?
definitely jungle music was, I think, my introduction to say UK dance music, bass music,
Yeah.
definitely, and that was stemming from hip hop,
Yeah.
reggae, ragga, from what my mum listened to, because it was heavily sampled. So you catch on to that, and I was also into metal at the time as well.
Mate, I'll tell you what, that is pretty much spot on to what I was into, mate. It's exactly the
And
same
rock,
route.
lovely
I mean,
Nirvana.
if you don't mind me asking,
Mm-hmm.
how old are you?
Mind you
And
asking,
I'm a
like,
cheeky. I'm a very cheeky.
I'm
You're
young,
about the
man. I'm
same age
so
as me, aren't
young.
you? You're about the same age as
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
So yeah, you can see the similarities in the route that we took into
Yeah, no,
doing what we're
yeah,
doing now.
I'm a fucking, sorry, I swore then,
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, I think, but I always search for older music as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm a big sort of searching before I was around, before I even knew about music,
Discogs.
70s, the 80s, so much music you might have missed out on or you might have caught
Exactly.
a glimpse of, and then you go back and actually, listen to the whole of that album,
Yeah.
so much music out there, and I love that. You know, I love, you know, especially the '80s and the
Mate, me
digital
too.
age of. I
Exactly.
mean, it's, I say '80s. They were doing it, I think, in the '50s and '60s, I think, as well, weren't
Yeah,
they?
I mean, I get geeky with it, man. Even down to what synths and stuff they were using back then. It's so interesting to sort of
Yeah,
delve your mind.
and it's I think yeah, that's the first question, I suppose. I was nearly going to talk more, but I think there might be more. There may be other
So,
questions you may want to
so you
ask me.
mentioned Cool FM and that.
Yeah.
What stations have you been on? What was the first, and what
First,
journeys have you gone through to? I mean, you're on Rinse nearly every week now, but what were the
I'm not,
stations that you first started off on?
I'm not on rinse every week, but you know, it's like I go on with you, you
Yeah.
know,
And
and
who else you go with?
icicle.
Yeah.
Well, icicle, you've got
Youngster,
once a
don't
month.
forget
Icicle,
Youngster.
occasionally youngster, icicle, and yourself.
Yeah.
I
You're
think they're the
exclusive.
main people,
You're
and then
exclusive.
if anyone sort of is doing like a guest show, you know, I think I've done the Heads show, Metalheads, once, but I mean, I'm not a regular on there,
Yeah.
but I have done it.
Yeah.
Um,
So what stations have you been on then?
so the first station, yeah, Addiction FM. It
Addiction
was
FM, yeah.
95.2 before Origin had it.
All right. So where was that then?
It was, I was going to say it's round the corner from here, like you know where I am. It's like just round the corner from here, mate. Like Islington, New North Road.
So you've got an album forthcoming on Wheel and Deal, which I think everyone's looking forward to hearing. Tell us your concept on the album, your thought process.
Yeah, I think I don't know what I think the concept was to just make sure there was a lot of as much as different I could do as possible, and I definitely had a vision for how I wanted to present that. You know, I definitely wanted to present it without sounding. I definitely had from intro to the last tune in my head.
Yeah.
I just needed to get it down on Logic paper. It was like, and you know, you kind of work with a lot of ideas, and
Yeah.
it might take me 5 ideas just to get the one tune.
Yeah.
You know, that I'm actually, you know, hearing that I want to go down. And yeah, so I definitely had like a vision of what sort of tunes I wanted to go on there, and not that I'd ever made those tunes before. That I just know that you know, these are the tunes that I feel I had to make, and it was just, yeah, it was just kind of just expressing oneself, so to speak.
Okay. Yeah, because we chatted about it earlier about how the first singles were kind of like a step towards the evolution of what this whole like piece of art almost is like.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, the the 2 MC features on the album, those instrumentals were done fairly early on,
Yeah.
as you know, and
Yeah.
even and yeah, I mean, I just, yeah, I mean, once you, I suppose you have these 2 sort of tunes that you're like, okay, they're singles, and you go, oh well, I want to write something that maybe no one would even consider playing.
Okay.
But I'm not saying that you wouldn't. I'm just saying, you know, my thought process was definitely, let's try and make something weird.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, I hope people.
Well, that's the thing.
No,
No,
people don't even think, no, it's not that
no,
weird.
I agree with you on that.
Still trying to get a groove into the beat. You know, I still wanted groove. I still wanted people to have a little, you know.
Well, this is the whole thing. Like I totally agree with you there. Like the thing is, I look for things that are different. I look for things that stand out and don't necessarily fit into the mold of what people think dubstep or UK bass is. So, with you like looking to make weird stuff or stuff that's different from the norm, that's what I was always looking for in the label. So for me, hearing this album,
I don't even think even from the norm, you know, just from the norm from me.
Yeah.
There's, you know, and if I was going to make a so-called dance floor that was going to be maybe more dance floor, you know, it was always going to be dark, because that's just how I seem to write my music. But I definitely, if it was going to be the dance floor, it had to be the one. You know, it had to be something pretty cool.
Yeah.
It just, you know, not just, oh, that works.
Yeah.
Can write loads of those that works tunes.
Yeah, totally.
Just that works. And I don't think I'm that sort of producer
mate,
anyway. I like...
The way I've heard like tunes that I get sent recently, if I hear the same old... I'm like, no! Save me! But you know what I mean, innit?
Of course I do.
You know? But you mentioned some MC tunes.
Yeah.
That you did.
Yeah.
What collabs have you got on the album? Tell us who features and how they came about.
Well, the production collabs that I did, just I didn't want to hear those.
We'll go through the MC ones first.
Okay, so I kind of had a lot of... I didn't really have a lot in mind. The person, Frisco, was one, and I thought of him originally.
Boy Better Know.
I didn't know any... Yeah, from Boy Better Know. I didn't know anyone who knew him. I didn't know him. But then I did know... Then I know someone... I knew someone who's working at SBTV, Rebecca Wren. And she mentioned to me that she might be able to, you know, hit her up if I thought of anyone, and she, you know, I might be able to get in touch with them. So I mentioned Frisco, and the next morning I had an email from her and Frisco going, yeah, we're ready to go.
Yeah.
So that's how that came about, and really happy about that. And also Illiman, you know, I wanted to use London MCs as well. It was, you know, I think, you know, we don't work enough together, and I wanted to work with people I hadn't worked with, hadn't really necessarily done too much dubstep or wasn't necessarily associated with it, but bass music and that sort of tempo was nothing for them. And these two MCs, you know, definitely can do this.
Mate, I'll tell you what, them tunes, bruv, they're sick, man. Like, Roll Out, I've been battering it in the clubs, and I mean, I just heard the Illiman tune today. Mate, I think I've even videoed us rocking out to it.
That then a remix.
I can't leak that. I can't leak it. But the dance moves were funny. But but no, the tunes are wicked, and they probably hear them on Friday.
And also have
surely.
Segi Lola on there.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh yes.
Artist is just Segi Lola.
Yeah.
And I sent her something that I'd written that was something, you know, it was definitely an emotion, definitely something, and she caught it. She just captured it like so well, so perfect, and nailed it. So
it's an amazing track, man.
So happy. I was just so happy about that.
I think, and then the way it's all gelled together is just, it's like perfect, really. You've done it right, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm happy.
So who else was collaborating on the album then?
So got SP and Youngster.
Production collabs, yeah?
Yeah. I didn't want
even though I'd love to hear him MC.
I didn't want too many collabs on the album. But them two had to be on there. I'd work, you know, I had to have SP on there, standard.
Yeah.
Family.
Yeah.
And, you know, schooled me how to work Logic, so, you know, it would look for me, it would look weird if he wasn't on there.
Well, I mean, Hunted was a massive, massive tune, man. That came out on Temper, innit? That was a big release. And Responsibility and some of the tunes we did with Youngster were massive as well.
Said, like, you know, did a tune with, it was kind of had to have Youngster on there as well. Yeah. You know, did that 12 of him for Temper, so I was like, right, see if we can do something for the album.
We'll talk about Youngster a bit. I mean, how he has been a big supporter of your music on the radio.
Yeah, he really has.
And I mean, he's very particular on the sounds he likes. So do you think that you know, guided you in a certain way at some point, or you? I
think people think that he's he's in a particular sound, and I'm into a sound, but I think he has also a forward thinking mind in terms of he's just like you and I, where he'll get bored. You know, he doesn't want to hear another Hunted. Yeah. He doesn't want to hear another, you know, whatever big was it whenever that was about. But whatever tunes were about them.
Yeah.
I mean, he's supported from You to Give It Up to, you know, Hunted to Judgment to Bad Dreams, even when I was Joker D. You know, our first tune, mine and SP's first tune, Future. So he's been a supporter. I think he's probably played. Whether he's kept playing them, he has his favourites.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But he has played every single tune, I think, bar maybe one.
Yeah.
That I've ever made.
Yeah, yeah.
And but he, you know, then he has his favourites, and then he just keeps playing those.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
classics. Yeah, I don't like them any.
So, where do you see your sound going towards in the future? Different tempos?
I think still
different vibe, or
I don't know. I mean, probably if it's going to be a different tempo, I'd probably reach more to 170.
Yeah.
If I was going to go to a different tempo, I mean, there's another. You know, it's definitely going to be along them lines, or half of that hip hop.
Definitely hear the hip hop,
but minimal. Definitely
everything
minimal.
You've made, you can hear that hip hop, even with, I don't know whether it's some of the drum kits you use and the way you roll like the snares out and all that sort of stuff. You've got that kind of hip hop vibe to it.
Yeah, I think hip hop is definitely a big influence in how I make music, how I make dance music, bass music, dubstep, whatever you want to call it.
So what sounds are currently doing it for you? What artists and what kind of vibes are you liking out there? Like,
probably still much the same that I've always been into, really, I think. Distance, Standard.
Yeah, we did the show the other day, didn't we?
Like, Top Boy.
Yeah.
Like, he's got so much music, and the music he's come with next.
Sick.
It's like, yeah.
It's sick.
Icicle, Proxima,
yep.
Thelum, Komodo, Bad.
Yeah.
Skeptical. I don't really. He's someone who just. I don't know how much dubstep he's going to make, but Skeptical is definitely a skanker.
Yeah.
And I can't think of anyone else off the top of my head right now.
Well, talking about all other artists
that don't come out of my sets, really.
Yeah.
Just, anything fresh they've got. I'm like, yeah.
So talking about all these other artists and that, I mean, who would be your dream collab? And I mean, it could be anyone, like from any era. They don't even have to be alive. But who would be your dream collab?
When you ask that question, like 3 or 4 people instantly come into my mind.
All right.
Like, if it was, like, Timbaland, Rick Rubin, Dr. Dre...
Yeah, yeah.
And there was Storch, Scott Storch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sick.
From Mobb Deep.
Yeah.
It's like, Premier.
Well, we'll never know, mate.
It's like...
We'll see what we can do.
It's like... like,
whether it happens or not.
I don't think, on the real, let's just be real, like, I don't think I'm going to get the chance to,
You never know, mate.
Well, Snoop Dogg
did a tune with Snoop Dogg done a dubstep vocal.
They are, some people I've looked up to.
Yeah.
For a long time, they're huge. But, yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, other than the album, what can your fans expect more of this year? DJ sets?
Yeah, I think this year after the album, I would love to sort of tour the album as much as possible, in Britain, Europe, USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, anywhere that wants to hear me play, basically, and tour the album, because it's much more music to make as well.
Well, I mean, the other thing is, you've got a lot of good artists on the album. It'd be nice to kind of incorporate that into the whole
definitely,
tour.
I think, if there's going to be, I think even if I was to be asked to do or be even sort of involve a lineup, I'd definitely involve people from the album and people who I work with in general. There's a sort of, you know, I wouldn't go as, it's like a team if you like, but it's
Yeah.
not a team. It's we all do our own thing, but there's friends within the scene, and we all sort of help each other. And when I say, we're not round, we're just sort of they're the people who I would be, whether it's Icicle, it might be on a different label, but I would definitely,
Yeah.
if it was be a label night, then yeah,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah. Yeah.
you'd
Yeah.
send it
But
more
I mean,
around
it's a tour
label.
around your music, so
Yeah.
I mean, it would be nice to see.
I mean,
You
I've got
come out for a
Illaman
DJ
on my
set.
set.
Yeah,
I've got
exactly. You'd have
set
Illaman
Illaman
come
on
out.
fire.
That's
So
right.
yeah, Illaman can definitely hold it down on the mic.
Yeah.
Might even
I mean,
jump
it'd be
off the
nice
deck.
to see him
Actually.
come out perform like the Get Hype track.
Mm,
And see
definitely. I mean,
Frisco
at
perform
Fire,
Roll Out.
I
That'd be
can't
wicked.
wait to debut that
Yeah.
at Fire.
Yeah. Exactly.
The
Exactly.
Whitland deal on the 23rd. I really can't wait to, even, Frisco performing Rollout or, Illaman. I can't wait. Illaman has got such energy. It's going to be wicked on the set anyway.
Yeah,
But
man.
when he performs a tune, hope it it goes down well.
So let's talk a little bit about Friday then. It is your album showcase. So they're
Yeah.
gonna hear all of the album, little
No,
bits.
no, I don't. I don't want to play the whole album. I want to play like 4 to 6 tunes. I think.
Yeah, you gotta keep
But
it
you might,
exclusive.
I think you don't want to, you want to buy the albums, have something fresh, don't you? So you don't
Yeah.
want to. But I mean, no, not a lot of people. I've kind of tried to keep it as an album. You want people to have fresh music, and I might play like 2 minutes of one tune at the beginning, just because it's got a wicked. I love the
Yeah.
atmosphere.
So few surprises in the set then.
Yeah, definitely exclusives for Fire. Definitely exclusives for the showcase set.
All right, so everyone who's watching this, make sure you come and see LX1 on Friday at Fire in Vauxhall. I think you're on 4 till 5. So make
4
sure
to
you
5
say
with Villa Man.
yeah,
Looking forward to it,
wicked.
man.
And we will catch you soon on Rinse, no doubt. And
Yeah.
good luck with the album.
Big up, mate.
Wicked, man. Take it easy, brother.
Take care. Look
See you
after.
later.